Welcome back, guys. This is Blake&VishSports, and we're here for a really quick show to react to the Niners schedule. We had to get the big man on here. You know, he's tough to get, but we got him here on a Wednesday night in between the 6 times he's streaming today. What's up, Grant? We're really happy to have you on, and we're really happy to react to the Niners schedule with you.
It's always my pleasure to come on with Blake and Vish Sports. You guys are a premier YouTube channel. Seriously, thank you for having me on. Let's get right down to business. And it's not going to be a quick show. We got about a half an hour. That's a good show.
Yeah,
that's a good show.
Let's talk about it.
Right. It's just short compared to what we usually do, because Blake and I are usually like the hour 20 minutes, and then Grant, you and I also go about an hour 20. But let's get straight into it. Yeah. Grant, I want your thoughts. What did you think when you first looked at the Niners schedule?
There's a lot of 10 a.m. games. There's a lot of traveling. I'm sure there's a lot of air miles that other teams in the Midwest and the East Coast won't have, but all those games are against crap teams. Sorry, pardon my French. I mean, I don't think they're going to lose any of the 10 a.m. games unless they lose to like Chicago or Cincinnati, something like that, Philly. So, I mean, the scheduling's tough. They have that game against Tennessee Thursday night on the road. It's just rough. I mean, how you going to – that's a loss. Other than that, though, I think whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo, this is a schedule the Niners should come away with double-digit wins.
Blake, what were your initial thoughts as kind of a more objective view? Well, I mean, Grant's probably the most objective viewer here because he's not a fan. Maybe you guys are right there.
I think he's definitely the control case here.
All right, Blake, what did you think when you looked at that schedule for the Niners?
So one thing that I always do when looking at schedules is I look at the end of the season, because those are the games that usually matter the most, right? It's crunch time, you know, it's make or break. And I'm looking down from week 14 to 18, week 14 Bengals, week 15 Falcons, week 16 Titans, 17 Texans, 18 Rams. I think they have a pretty reasonable end of the year schedule that if they're in a position that they're pushing for a wild card, like I think they could get in not too terribly difficult for them to get in. Those like the Texans should be, I mean, if they don't beat the Texans, like just get clear house. I mean, not much more to say there. And then like the Falcons, like I don't expect them to be all that great. Same probably with the Bengals. Titans and Rams could be tough, but with the Titans, I don't think they'll be like a super great team this year. So Rams will be tough. You know, obviously every divisional game's tough, but I think they have a really nice end of schedule for how it's set up as of right now. And if they are in a position that they're pushing for a wild card or to win the NFC West, like they should have an easier time than most when most people are, say, playing divisional games, you know?
So I actually look at schedules opposite, because my problem with looking at the end of schedule is 2 things. You don't know the injury variables. So you don't know what the team is going to be at the end of the season, and then you don't know which teams are going to be good. I always look at the beginning and say, is the beginning doable for the 49ers? I would say the beginning is doable. And I think the one thing that probably stuck out to me the most is that the Niners actually have a very favorable season in terms of weather. Like, I look at that December game in Seattle and then possibly Cincinnati as maybe the only 2 games that they might be playing in inclement weather, which is always a really positive thing. Like,
what's the weather like in Chicago on Halloween?
It'll be chilly, but it's not going to be like playing 40, a November 20th, November 20 game, like in Soldier Field and all of that. So that's really positive for me. And then the other thing I would that really stands out to me is, like you said, that Tennessee game. I think that's the only one where I look at it as really a scheduled loss kind of game, where like, wow, the schedule really screwed them. Like Thursday night across country in Tennessee against a very physical offense. Like, yeah, that's really tough. But otherwise, I'm like, there's not much really here where I go, oh my God, like, come on, like the Niners got screwed, where you have to play cross country in New England and then the next week you play cross country in Seattle. I didn't look at anything like that. I think it's a favorable schedule for the Niners. I don't think it's as easy one as people are trying to say, because all 6 division games will be tough. Indianapolis will be tough. If Aaron Rodgers is there, Green Bay will be tough.
Hey.
I think one of those NFC North teams between the Bears and the Vikings are going to be a tough football game. Yeah. And then I think Atlanta, Grant, I know like there's a lot of people that don't look high on their defense. I think Dean Pease is going to help their defense a lot. You go from the most vanilla in Dan Quinn to probably the most complex in Dean Pease.
True.
And that offense is going to be hard for anybody to stop, especially if Julio Jones stays. And then finally, the Tennessee game, obviously Thursday night, all of that. Playing Derrick Henry in December is always a cautious tale, especially with Taylor Lewan coming back. So I think overall it's a very favorable schedule, but I wouldn't call it an easy one per se.
Yeah, I think they can handle it. It's not an easy schedule. There's just more cross country chips than I thought. Like they can do the Youngstown thing between weeks 1 and 2. And they should. They absolutely should. If they don't, all of a sudden that Philly game looks tougher than it needs to be. But then they have like these sporadic cross-country trips, one of them for a Thursday night game. That's rough. But I think they're going to go like 4-1 on those trips. So,
yeah, they're not playing like, some of the better teams out east. They're playing the Lions.
Honestly, they lucked out. If it were anyone other than Cincinnati and Jacksonville late in the season on those trips, I would say the Niners would lose just because of the schedule, but they should beat Jacksonville and Cincinnati on the road.
I think Jacksonville could be tough. I think
depending on how good Tebow is at that point, yeah.
Oh, Tebow, you're right. Their success is
going
to be
right.
Because the competitive edge that he provides to teams is going to make a huge difference. And real quick, before we move to the Packers, because we're moving a little fast here today, Jamal is asking about any trap games. And for me, the trap game, like I think Atlanta, Tennessee, like those are the ones people are going to mention and all of that. Yeah. But for me, the trap game is week 1. It's week 1. I tweeted a little bit about this earlier. Kyle Shanahan, in the 13 seasons that he's run an offense, so as an offensive coordinator, a head coach, his offenses average 19.31 points per game on week 1. That's not very good for a guy of his caliber. Go look at it compared to McVay or compared to Andy Reid. It's not the best. And you can say, like, obviously, we're judging by the toughest of standards here, right? And you can talk about, well, Jimmy Garoppolo ruined it for him. Well, even with MVP Matt Ryan in 2016 against the 23rd ranked Bucs defense, they only scored 24 points and they lost that game. They averaged 34 points a game that season. So that's 10 less than their season average. So clearly his offenses don't start the fastest. I think with Nick Bosa coming off a torn ACL, obviously Jared Goff can get rattled by pressure, but that's a mean offensive line. We all three really like Penei Sewell. Taylor Decker is one of the most underrated players in the entire NFL. He's a top 10 left tackle in the league, and Frank Ragnow is a top 3 center in the league. So they're going to have a very good offensive line. DeAndre Swift showed something. They're going to be able to run the football. I think what makes it hard is not Detroit or anything. It's just going cross to the Midwest week 1 and playing a very, very physical football game. Now, do I expect the Niners to lose that game? Absolutely not. I expect them to win. It's just going to be an ugly week 1 win, the same way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game was in 2019.
Real quick, you say that Kyle Shanahan historically starts slow. So does Jimmy. Look at his numbers. So does Jimmy, man. He's had some terrible preseason, some terrible training camps, some terrible week 1. So the Niners are vulnerable week 1.
So here's my question with that, Grant. And Blake, I'd like you to jump in here too. Jimmy, the week 1 we've seen him play not on the 49ers looked outstanding when he played against a near Super Bowl.
How much is it, Kyle?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because we have a 13 game sample size where Kyle Shanahan, other than that, really RG3 was his best week 1 quarterback. And that's because they were unleashing a new offense on the league.
Is that when they had the 80-yard touchdown throw to Pierre Garçon?
Pierre Garçon, yes.
I remember that, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Blake, any thoughts on that?
On just like the Lions in general and kind of like
and the week 1 Kyle Shanahan thing that I just threw out. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it?
I definitely think the point with how many points they've scored is like pretty interesting. And I feel like teams week 1 is very hit or miss in the NFL. Like, if you guys remember last year, the Jaguars won their only game of the season, and they beat the Colts. And everyone was just slamming the Colts on bets. Like, I mean, this Colts team on paper is 10 times better than the Jags. And, I mean, when you watch the season play out, like, yeah, they were. The Jags won 1 game, but it didn't matter because it's week 1, and week 1 in the NFL it's always just the most.
It's kind of about which coach has his team ready, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point.
Yeah.
Right. And you bring up like week one's a total crapshoot. I think that's where for me it's bizarre because I think Kyle Shanahan's kind of established himself as schematically a very cutting edge coach. Nobody would argue with that. He's schematically very good. So you would think that that entire offseason to prepare the other guys that I would say are schematically cutting edge, like Andy Reid, McVay, the Belichick and the Patriots system with Belichick and McDaniels, they come out week one and it looks like they're just a step ahead right away and they're on their feet running. But with Shanahan's offenses, it looks like it takes them, like, even in terms of like their discipline week one, like the week one versus the Vikings in 2018, Grant, how many pre-snap penalties and drop touchdowns and just small execution errors in plays were there?
So what I'm saying is there's a difference between play design and play installation. And from what we've seen with Kyle Shanahan is it takes him a little bit longer to install his offense to the point where his players are executing well. Takes him longer than Sean McVay and Andy Reid, period. Maybe it's because his offense is more intricate. There's more stuff going on. Whatever the case, you've definitely hit on a trend here. It's real.
Yeah, so
interesting.
That's a lot of time spent on the Niners. I don't think we should do record predictions now. I think we should wait a little bit and get Grant on again to do some record predictions. But 17-0. Grant's already predicting. You heard it here first.
Grant
Cohn predicted 17-0.
That's right.
But we have a Packers fan on here in Blake, and unfortunately, we never really talk about the Packers with Blake. But now they got this schedule, and we're not going to do 2 straight Packers topics. But bear with us because the third topic is going to be hilarious because we're going to get Grant Cohn's reaction to the Packers signing Blake Bortles. So just bear with us right now. But let's go through the Packers schedule right now. Blake, I'm going to start it off with you as the resident Packers fan. What was your big takeaway when you looked at the Packers schedule? And are you scared about the fact that the Packers are not going to be starting 3-0 because they have a schedule lost week 3 against the 49ers?
Yeah, so the first week, I know New Orleans and I believe the Packers and the Saints are prime time, which is, I mean, why do they want to have, I guess, whoever our quarterback is and then whoever the Saints quarterback is be like the prime time matchup? Like, that's kind of confusing to me. Week 2 Lions, don't really need to talk about that much. But, yeah, I'm pissed that we have to play the Niners prime time, early in the season. Because every time the Packers go to California, they lose. It just happens. And now your whole team's not going to be on IR this year, which happened last year for that Thursday night game. And, Richie James was still killing us, which is sad, but I hate the fact that we have to go to the Niners on prime time because we always just get obliterated usually when we do go to California. But yeah, that was my biggest thing. That's just annoying. So, Grant, what do you think about the Packers schedule?
Well, I haven't really perused the Packers schedule that closely, but I have considered the game week 3 against the Niners, and I do think that although the Packers don't travel well they really don't travel well to the West Coast, I think that's a game that they should win. I think a big advantage the Niners had over the Packers the last couple of years was Robert Saleh. I think he was the kind of defensive coordinator who could match up with the best coordinators in the league. I don't know if you want to put Matt LaFleur in that category, but the combination of him and Aaron Rodgers is pretty potent. Combination of any coordinator and Aaron Rodgers is pretty potent. And I think Saleh was helpful. I'm not saying that DeMeco Ryans is going to be like an idiot or anything. I mean, I'm sure he's really good, but this is week 3, and he might be going through some growing pains at this point. So DeMeco, I respect him. I think he could be really good, but this might be a week where he struggles.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point, actually. I hadn't even considered that. And he'd basically eaten up both LaFleur and McVay, who really out-scheme and out-game plan a lot of coaches in the league. Just like they win the game oftentimes in the week itself with their game planning. And then obviously LaFleur as Aaron Rodgers is just incredible. Going through the Packers schedule, the one thing that really stood out to me was that bye. Having that week 12 bye to me, or week 13 bye, it was a little bit like, ooh, because they got to play the Niners, they have to play the Saints, they have to play the Steelers, they have to play Washington, they have to play Kansas City, they have to play Seattle and the Rams. That's 7 teams that are quite physical prior to that bye. And the Packers, the one thing that has bothered me about them, and it starts with their defense and their defensive line and the linebackers. It's been their problem the last 3 years, and it continues to be their problem because they don't address it. They don't have size up front, and they don't have speed and physicality from their linebackers. And when you don't have those two things, and you're playing teams like they're going to play Minnesota, right? The Niners, the Steelers look like they want to run the ball, right? That's why they got Najee Harris. The Rams are going to run the football. Seattle is going to run the football, and you're playing these really physical football teams. It can be a grind, especially if you don't have your bye early. So that's probably the one thing that really concerns me about the Packers schedule. But then you look at it and you say, if they have Aaron Rodgers, they're going to win the NFC North and all of that. So I don't look at it as a big problem. If you guys want to, we can just do a little quick preview. Grant already started there, and just talk about the Packers-Niners game real quick.
Well, real quick, I think it's interesting that the Packers have their bye week 13 or whatever, and the Niners have theirs week 6. You could argue that the Niners, week 6 isn't when you want it either, especially for a veteran team. That's a lot of playing down. I mean, if they do win the Super Bowl, how many weeks in a row of football do they have to play, assuming they don't get the number 1 seed? Like a lot. Months.
So I think the other underrated thing, and I think this was probably the biggest BS of the 17 games, is the fact that they went to this 7 playoff schedule giving only one team a bye. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
What if you have a week, let's say you're the Niners, you have a week 6 bye. You're already scheduled to lose in the playoffs. And let me tell you why.
Great point.
Because it's like you can be however good a team you are, if you don't have that bye and you've just played 11 straight weeks of football, that 12th week, that 13th week, this to me, it's insane.
God forbid it's on the road.
Right.
God forbid it's on the road.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's insane to me that the players signed off for these things, because the NFL is just creating more ways to make the game of football unsafe while making it safer by reducing the rules and all of this.
Yeah. Going a little bit more lax on marijuana gets you this. Jeez, man. What did you negotiate, players? Yikes.
Not a good job. I did want to mention, though, Vish, with the bye, though, that I kind of like is when we have our bye, the next game is prime time against the Bears. So we have a whole week to just prepare for the annual Bears slaughter at Lambeau Field. So I know Grant's going to be watching that. He's going to be talking Niners, and he's going to tune in to Rodgers, the annual Bears slaughter.
I'll peep it. I'll peep it.
If he's not watching the Trey Lance film, I know he's going to be on that this year. Or playing.
See, Sunday Night Football, if you've been following Grant's tweets, that becomes at the time where Grant, I think, starts relaxing. Maybe he's got his feet up on the couch. He starts having a drink. So instead of watching the game, he'll start trolling the two teams within the game.
That's true. And I'm trying to unwind at that point.
Right.
I'm done for the night at that point.
And Niners fans who are so used to getting trolled, they're like, oh, crap, Grant's trolling someone else, and they start going crazy about it.
That's right. Give him the treatment. I can do it. I can do it sometimes. Who brought it out of Matt Patricia last year on Thanksgiving? I could not understand. I feel like I got Matt Patricia fired. I feel like I did my part. He was out 2 days later.
They were listening to you.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry, Matt.
All right. So, Grant, we talked about the Packers schedule. Big news happened to Blake's Green Bay Packers. We have to go here. What are your thoughts on the Green Bay Packers signing former number 3 overall pick, Blake Bortles?
I just think it's the smartest move of the year. I mean, here the Packers were between a rock and a hard place, right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is your franchise, and he says he wants out and he wants a trade, and there's nothing you can say. And the Packers, all of a sudden, they're like the Texans. They're terrible, and they're going to have to give away their only asset and just be the worst. But they had a get out of jail free card, and his name is Blake Bortles. All of a sudden, they have someone who's just as good, if not better, than Aaron Rodgers coming in the building. And now Aaron, who's sitting wherever he hangs out in the offseason thinking he's got it made, just had the fear of God put in him. And he's like, oh, my God, Blake Bortles is going to win this job and get a $150 million contract. This just changes everything. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is having a panic attack right now. I'm sure he called up his agent. He's like, hey, man, how come you didn't tell me Blake Bortles was a free? I thought he was on the Rams still, man. No, honestly, how hard do you think Aaron Rodgers laughed when he saw this news? Like, what are you doing? I'm supposed to care? It almost feels like they're preparing for Rodgers to leave. It's like, all right, well, we need to bring in a backup for Jordan Love, I guess. Doesn't look good, guys. It doesn't look good.
This is good, Grant. This is a good thing. The Green Bay Packers signing Blake Bortles is great. One of the best moves, unironically speaking. So two points I want to bring up. The first, the Packers usually carry multiple quarterbacks. Just whether Bortles is actually like on the team come the start of the season, I don't know about that. Will Love even suit up? That's my bigger question now. Like, what if Blake Bortles plays really well in camp, and then we have another season of Jordan Love not even like wearing a jersey? Can
I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go in.
If that happens and you're a Packers fan, sell your Jordan Love jersey tomorrow. It's not going to work. If Blake Bortles beats you out in a training camp, that jersey has to go. Like,
I have a question. Who has a brighter future? Blake Bortles or Josh Rosen?
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
I think Bortles has a better chance of making the team in Green Bay.
I mean, it's probably like you're saying like 1% chance of like Rosen like playing a game again. It's like 1.1% chance of like Bortles playing a game again, but
that's a good point.
It's close.
Hey, why is Blake Bortles back still in the league? Why?
Veteran presence. He's good with the clipboard.
So if they were looking for a Tim Boyle replacement, I thought their Tim Boyle replacement would just be wait until June and check if Nick Mullins' medicals check out. And then you can just bring him in, and he's your replacement.
No.
He's better than Bortles.
Better than Blake Bortles.
Yeah, I agree with that, too.
When was the last time Blake Bortles did anything good?
2017. He took a team to the AFC Championship. He dropped over 40 points on the Steelers in the divisional round.
2018, week 2 against the New England Patriots. The game before it went all bad for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's true. But also, you guys are missing out on the bigger point here. Anytime the Packers try to piss off Rodgers, he just seems to like do better. He drafted Jordan Love. He said, screw this. I'm going to go get an MVP season. And he did that. Now they're bringing in another quarterback just to annoy him. I don't know
how this is supposed to piss off Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure he's sitting. Where does he hang out? LA? I'm sure he's in Bel Air right now.
Yeah.
He's at Bel Air, and Blake Bortles is in like South Florida in an apartment. No, Blake Bortles has money, right? Blake Bortles has money. But whatever. Aaron Rodgers has like $300 million, and he's sitting in some Bel Air mansion. And he's like, Blake Bortles, huh? Okay, well,
drinking a glass of scotch.
I'm still not playing for you. Studying Jeopardy. I heard he's been working on his delivery with Jeopardy. I heard he really likes that.
He likes it a lot. He's gonna do that.
Can you imagine Tom Brady doing something like that? Hey, I want to do Jeopardy halftime.
That was our earlier conversation on the phone, and this is why I think the Packers should be more scared about Rodgers, because I think Rodgers genuinely has interest that he can use to just walk away from football. Like, if Brady made these threats, we're 21 years into observing Brady's career, and we still don't know what Tom Brady likes to do. We know what he likes to do to prepare himself to play football, like eat avocado ice cream and do all kinds of wacky things to elongate his muscles instead of like all of that, and they seem to be working, all of that. But we don't know what Tom Brady's actually interested in. I guess he likes playing golf from time to time. But with Aaron Rodgers, like, we're open to this whole new world where he has this genuine profession that he seems to truly enjoy, and he's pretty good at by all accounts. I've never seen him host Jeopardy, but people seem to like him. And so
really, because
he could actually walk away from football.
I haven't seen him in Jeopardy, but I think in the State Farm commercials, I think he's the stiffest of the all-time great quarterbacks. Like Peyton Manning
he's
was
the best.
Terrific. Tom Brady actually, I think, has a little bit of a sense of humor. Eli Manning is funny, although he's not a great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers just comes across stiff to me.
That's actually a decent point.
Yep.
So do you like the Mahomes and Otto State Farm commercials, or do you like the Rodgers?
I don't think Mahomes has that much charisma either, to be honest. I mean, those State Farm commercials are bad. I mean, Jake carries them. Jake definitely carries them. Yeah. I
mean, Peyton's different. I mean, I thought the best set of State Farm commercials were the one year they had Cliff and Chris Paul. And then the dad one, son one, I don't think is that great. And then the other one was, hey, Rodgers, discount double check.
Yeah. Again, they always have to carry Rodgers with other funny people. You know, they've been trying to put funny people around him for a long time because he kind of just stands there with the frown on his face. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Peyton's pretty good, though, on Nationwide.
Peyton's hilarious. He was, I mean, he's epic. The one from when I was a kid. But cut that meat. Cut that. I don't know if you remember that one, but he's
no, I know which one you're talking about.
Steve Young was good back in the day. He used to do Toyota commercials. He was always very natural.
Joe Montana, Skechers.
Joe Montana. I like those Skechers commercials, actually. I don't remember Brett Favre doing them very much.
No, Wrangler.
Wrangler and Coppertone. Wrangler and Coppertone, yeah.
My favorite is Peyton when he's like doing a bunch of things and he's singing the Nationwide jingle, and it always gets me when the kid smacks the ping pong ball at him and he goes, "Epic comeback starts right now."
Yeah, he was really good at those. Yeah, he was good at those. He was good on Saturday Night Live and stuff too. Something about him, but I think Eli is actually really funny too. He's not quite famous enough to get those type of endorsements, but he's got a little bit of a sense of humor.
There's something about their unfunny
I don't like Tony Romo though. Tony Romo, he's better as an announcer than as he is selling Coronas. Like the Corona commercials are terrible. Unless they're advertising on my site, then I like the Corona commercials.
Do you not call the hotline, Grant?
No, I think it's kind of a whack concept. Nah. Who else has commercials? Jimmy never got the commercial treatment.
Jimmy's Levi's, right?
Those Levi's commercials are terrible. He also had that one where he's like a cartoon on NFL Network. Remember that one?
This is why I watch. This is why we love bringing Grant on.
I'm sorry. You guys only had me for 25 minutes, and I took the conversation here for the last 10. I'm really sorry.
No, this is entertaining.
Baker Baker is way too good. I feel like he's too good. Like, he looks like he's taking acting classes seriously.
No. Baker's legit. Like the "This Is My House" progressive stuff. I love those.
Yeah. He's way too good at it. He's a better actor than he is a quarterback, and he's a good quarterback.
Oh, that's a compliment.
His facial expressions, the way he modulates his voice, he's very believable. He does not break the fourth wall. He's terrific.
Grant, here's my question though: who is the best of the best quarterbacks for commercials? Like just hands down on the spot.
I'm trying to think. If only Jamarcus Russell could have gotten a shot. We don't know. We just don't know.
I mean, we'd like to see.
I think Peyton is the GOAT. Peyton was really, really good. He was really good. Brady doesn't get the opportunity. I think people hate him. So I don't know. But Peyton, who am I missing here?
I mean, imagine he's playing football with a bunch of random people, just in an open field, and he just
Roethlisberger. Why does he not have endorsements?
I wonder why, Grant.
I don't know. Something about it. Guys, it's 6:58. It's a 2-minute warning. I got to bounce. I'm sorry I had to go so quickly. Let's do it again soon because I owe you guys endlessly. I love coming on your show. Thank you.
We love having you, Grant.
Yeah. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll maybe do an entire segment where we talk about quarterbacks and commercials. But
I think we found something. I think we definitely got something.
It could be
Michael Vick. Yeah, thank you, Pino. All right. I'm out. Gotta go.
We've reached the end. Guys, Grant, I'll just let you head out and we'll
take care, guys.
Wrap up here. Thank you for joining us. Guys, thank you for joining us. It was really nice. We'll be back on, I think, Friday, Blake.
Yes.
And we'll be ranking the running backs on Friday. We've been spending a little bit of time watching them. It's going to be a little different in terms of our rankings, but we'll be picking our top 5 running backs in the NFL. And we're looking to do more kind of ranking stuff in general on this channel over the offseason because it's just a little bit boring. And what's more fun than just ranking people and then having people yell at you about the rankings? So maybe we'll rank like best receiving cores. Obviously, we're doing top 5 running backs, top 5 backfields, triplets, just all kinds of interesting stuff. And yeah, thank you for joining us. And please join us next time. Again, please like, subscribe, share. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.